They told me I was no longer part of the family, while sipping champagne in front of 50 guests. An hour later, they watched me on national TV donating $10 million to a cause they never believed in. Hi, I'm Avery McNeil. For years, I was the invisible daughter, the one who didn't fit the mold, the one they pushed aside while praising perfection. But that night, everything flipped. The chandelier above glared like judgment. I sat at the far end of the table, not even listed in the program. Evelyn was praised. Mason applauded.
Me?
Nothing. Then Regina stood. All our children shine, though some are still searching. Mason leaned toward Evelyn. Must mean the family's full-time tinkerer. Evelyn smirked. Still playing with apps, huh? Cute. I gripped my glass. I almost stayed quiet. Almost. Warren raised his wine. Being a McNeil is about legacy.
Strength.
Sometimes we must release what dilutes that legacy. Then, straight to me. From this day, you are no longer part of this family. The room held its breath. Regina reached for my hand. You'll understand someday, dear. I pulled back. If the McNeil name can't carry difference, I return it, with 28 years of silence. I stood, eyes locked. Forks dropped. My heels echoed across marble. Behind me, Evelyn's laugh. Mason. $10 she comes back by New Year. Outside, cold air. Phone buzz. Sienna. $10 million wired. CBS slot confirmed. 8 p.m. sharp. I smiled. I didn't need to yell. They'd hear me. Above, a flycam circled. Another ping. Producer. Live feed set. You good? I checked my watch. 3 hours, I whispered. Let them stew. As I walked, someone live-streamed. Over 200,000 views in 10 minutes. Inside, a child whispered, "Why is she being kicked out?" No reply. My shoes, worn, sturdy, clicked like punctuation. I wasn't leaving in shame. I was rewriting the first line of my story. The studio lights weren't intimidating. I'd faced colder spotlights, like the silence at my own dinner table. As the stylist adjusted my blazer, the anchor smiled, all charm. But her eyes scanned me like she wasn't convinced. Live in 5, someone called. The intro played. My name flashed across the screen in bold. I sat upright, heels grounded. Tonight, the anchor said, we welcome Avery McNeil. Her recent $10 million donation to S-Team for Every Girl is already shifting national policy. I nodded, happy to be here. She opened with metrics. Wait times reduced. Pilot states outperforming projections. I answered clearly, firmly. Then came the pivot. Some say this goes against everything the McNeil legacy stood for. Is this personal? I smiled, small, deliberate. My family defines success by who sits at your table. I define it by who finally gets a seat at the doctor's office. I didn't build this from their legacy. I built it from being ignored at theirs. A pause. Her eyes flicked to the control room. Green light stayed on. And if your family's watching tonight? I looked straight into the camera. Then they finally have no choice but to see me. She blinked. Then, would you ever return if they asked? I leaned forward. I don't return to places that needed me invisible. I don't wait at doors that were locked on purpose. The room didn't breathe. Then applause, quiet, growing. One woman in the front row wiped her eyes. The producer mouthed, "We got it." As credits rolled, the anchor leaned in. That line? It's going to break the internet. Backstage, I checked my phone. Hashtag Avery Unowned trending number 3. The clip of my answer already at 6.2 million views. Bloomberg editor. You're on our Founders Who Changed Everything list. Sienna, email Mayo Clinic. Haven Care. Both want urgent meetings. Jordan. Kessler Capital just requested a sit-down. Same floor your dad used to work on. I closed the screen. Smiled. I remembered the grant rejection from 4 years ago. Not prominent enough. I'd filed it in a folder labeled Reasons to Win. I just crossed the first one off. The email from Sienna hit my inbox at 7:04 a.m. Subject: We need to talk. Attached: a leaked message from Regina McNeil to her PR coordinator. Let's show warmth toward Avery. Family means forgiveness, right? That's what we're hoping she believes. I didn't flinch. 4 years ago, I had invited them to the first prototype demo. No one replied. I remember telling myself, one day, they'll come running. By then, my hand won't be out. Jordan stormed in. You need to go public with this. Before they rewrite history with your face. That afternoon, I accepted a keynote slot at the National Health Innovation Forum. I didn't tell anyone what I planned to show. The room was packed. Executives, deans, and 4 major news outlets. My talk began with data, reduced wait times, expanded coverage, real people helped. Then came the pivot. I've been asked recently if I've reconciled with my family. I said, voice steady. They say they support me now. But support that arrives after the spotlight isn't love. It's branding. I tapped my clicker. Behind me, on the giant LED screen, Regina's email appeared. Gasps rippled. Cameras clicked like gunfire. I don't owe forgiveness to opportunism. I continued. Forgiveness is earned, not asked for out of convenience. I forgive what deserves it. And I forget what no longer matters. The room exploded into applause. Phones out. Hashtags live. Back at the McNeil estate, I imagined Regina watching it all. A spotlight frozen on her name. A truth she couldn't unsee. Sienna smiled backstage. You just dropped a bomb. Later that night, headlines flooded my feed. Avery rejects McNeil forgiveness on national stage. Legacy doesn't equal loyalty. Jordan forwarded me a LinkedIn post. Alan Braverman. Some people know PR. I know code. Let's see who's built on real tech. Jordan muttered. He's not just watching. He's coming. I took a deep breath. Let him. This time, I wasn't just ready. I was already ahead. Alan stood on stage like he owned the air. QuoCare, he announced, is the future of intelligent patient routing. Unlike primitive systems like Secure Health, ours predicts demand in real time. I let him talk. He smirked between buzzwords. Unlike some reactive models, he said, eyes on me, ours uses dynamic load balancing and proprietary sync architecture. He clicked to slide 14. The diagram appeared. Familiar. Too familiar. I stepped forward. Before we dive deeper, Alan, are you absolutely sure you want to present that sync architecture? The one on slide 14. He raised an eyebrow. Of course.
Why?
Jordan walked up calmly, holding a USB. Because we've seen it before. He plugged it in. A line of code filled the big screen. Dated 2020. Authored by me. Then another slide. The same diagram Alan just used, identical. The room inhaled. Alan stiffened. This proves nothing. Anyone could write similar logic. I faced the crowd. When I was a junior engineer at MedQuo, I shared the structure with Alan in a pitch session. A month later, he launched MedQuo Sync using my blueprint. Alan cut in. That's slander. Then sue me. I said, tone even. But remember, every line you present today has a timestamp, and I archived every message. I don't play press games. I build truth. Cameras flashed. A shareholder stood. I don't invest in theft. I invest in founders. My vote is with Avery. Another nodded. Then another. The government official in the front row leaned toward me. They called me from DC to observe. I'll be calling you next. Alan tried to speak again, but no one was listening. Jordan tapped my shoulder. You didn't just defend the company. You buried him. I turned, slid the USB into my pocket, and walked out. Outside, I checked my phone. Regina, the family is under fire. If you still consider yourself one of us, defend the McNeil name." I didn't respond. Jordan followed. "They just filed to represent your foundation board." I looked at him. "They won't touch it." Back at my office, I opened the USB one last time, then hit delete. The proof served its purpose, and I had nothing left to prove. The library wasn't opulent, but it was mine. Where there were once dusty stacks, now stood banners reading, Avery Foundation. 300 guests filled the seats, students, teachers, engineers, reporters. And Mia, sitting front row, eyes wide with hope. Sienna opened with calm precision. "This foundation isn't charity. It's correction. A system that once said, 'You don't belong.' We're rewriting it." Applause. I stepped up. No slides. Just white light and one microphone. When I was 24, I graduated alone in the rain. No family, no fanfare. The only thing my mother sent was a card that read, "Time to wake up from this dream." I paused. Today, that dream becomes someone else's beginning. The room quieted. No camera flash. Just breath held. I spoke about rejection. About scholarship panels that asked about influential last names. About being told I had no presence. One reporter raised a hand. "Miss McNeil, would you call this a response to your family?" I smiled. "I'm not here to define them. I'm here to redefine everything they ignored." Gasps. Pen scribbled. Then I called Mia to the stage. Mia was denied a coding class because she was too shy. Today, she receives our first scholarship. She hugged me tight, whispered, "I'll study harder than anyone." Then Jordan rushed in, phone in hand. They did it. The McNeil Foundation had posted, "Proud of the legacy we helped plant," under a photo of me. Without permission, Jordan stepped to the mic. "The Avery Foundation is an independent entity. Remove all unauthorized association immediately." Within 20 minutes, #Avery Stands Alone trended #1. The post vanished. But not the shame. Backstage, I pulled out a sealed envelope. Presidential office seal. Invitation. National Summit on Education Policy. Theme, Empowering Future Voices. Sienna asked quietly, "What if your parents are in the audience?" I looked ahead. "Then I'll speak as if they never were." The spotlight hit my white suit like a blade of silence. I stood alone, center stage at the National Policy Forum in D.C., facing delegates from all 50 states. Anthem, Regina and Warren. Row 5, center. Nodding, smiling too carefully. The same people who once told me ambition looked ugly on a daughter. When I was younger, I used to dream of this moment. Standing here, and hoping they'd be proud. I let the words settle. Today, I'm not hoping anymore. Slides behind me lit up. 1.2 million patients. 78% from underserved zip codes. Results. Proof. No billboards. No legacy favors. Just the work. Then, slower. For years, I carried the name McNeil like a shadow I couldn't shake. I thought I had to earn their silence. Now, I lay that shadow down, not in anger, but in peace. Applause came like a wave. A camera caught Regina, blinking hard. Warren shifted, jaw clenched. I still didn't look at them. When the press conference began, a journalist pushed forward. "Ms. McNeil, your parents were here today. Is this a reconciliation?" I turned finally. Not in fury, not in grief, just clarity. Reunion? No. This is a conclusion. Then louder, into every lens aimed at me. My presence doesn't need a name to have a voice. And I choose to walk forward. Not in someone's shadow, but with my own light. Flashbulbs exploded. Regina's hands tightened in her lap. Warren looked like he might stand, but didn't. Backstage, I let out the breath I'd been holding for a decade. Jordan handed me a new envelope. UN wants you to keynote in Geneva. Global health and digital equity. Sienna arrived a second later, placing a new folder on the table. Next product, she said. Therapy support for post-discharge foster youth. I opened the folder, fingers steady, then looked up. Let's build something even louder than revenge. Outside, banners waved. Change doesn't ask for permission. And for the first time in my life, I didn't just walk away from the McNeils. I walked into something that was finally mine.